here for Bel Udrian. Udrian, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I appreciate it if you would stay, but you can go and read the article, etc. Whenever you're ready, Ben, I'll write down your grades over here.
Yes, sir. I'll share my screen.
Sige. Do do do.
Kita na, sir.
Dyan lang ha. Yep, I can see it.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, here is my city analysis of the urban issues of Pagadian City. So, Pagadian is a coastal component city in the province of Zamboanga del Sur. It serves as the provincial capital as well as the regional center of Zamboanga Peninsula. And here's the Philippine map. This is where Region 9 is located. Here, the red portion here.
Mhm.
And this is the zoomed in version. The Region 9, which has an area of 16,904.03 kilometers square.
Mhm.
And we can also see here the major and minor roads, the red lines and the orange lines, and also the different cities and municipalities. And here is where Pagadian City is located. It's the Region 9, the blue portion here.
Mhm.
And then here is the Pagadian City map, which has an area of 378.80 kilometers square. And also point here among urban barangays, rural barangays, since Pagadian City has 54 barangays and 13 of which are categorized as urban and the remaining 41 are rural. So it's really pretty much a developing city. And then for the zoning map, I mainly focused on the urban center because I don't really have much information about barangays outside the urban area
That,
here.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's okay.
here. So so Pagadian, a little history about the name. It came from an Iran language, which Padian, which means market. So basically, early settlers started here. Here, that's why here nag-start ang urbanization and then going up na dayon siya. And then for the population data, so as seen on the population data, both regional and the city has a steady increase of population growth rate. And for over 20 years, population in Region 9 increased by 1,044,164 from 2,831,412 in 2000 to 3,875,576 in 2020. And the newest census data in 2020 showed a positive growth rate of 1.39%. Meanwhile, here in Pagadian City, it also shows a growth increase of population from 142,585 in 2000 to 210,452 in 2020. And that is an increase of 67,866 individual over 20 years. The latest census in 2020 denotes a positive growth rate of 1.18%. So moving forward, so physical issues. So first off, we have the geographic location. I think the strength of the geographic location. Pagadian City serves as a gateway by land and sea to other several cities, municipalities, and at present it serves as port for Region 9 and Region 12. I think like for trade and commerce. It's very beneficial to that. And then, due to its steep topography, most of the cities, barangays do not experience flooding. However, it's also a weakness because barangays located at the low-lying southern and eastern part of the city experience flooding, especially during heavy rains. This part of the city here, here is a sample picture. Kita siya. Like mag-flood siya. I think it's located around here. And then for the traffic congestion, so yeah, the poor road networking and the lack of proper public transport terminals. So most and then most roads doesn't have proper sidewalks that causing pedestrians to use vehicle roads instead. No proper loading and unloading area for public transport vehicles. But like Sir said, it's not really about the number of public utility vehicles. It's more like about the infrastructure, like and then like because of that, mahinder ang mobility uh, sa other vehicles because there's no proper place for them. And then another is the no direct power source and the lack of telecommunication towers. So no direct power source. Pagadian City is tapping the power source, Maria Cristina Falls, which is a hydroelectric power plant located in Iligan City. So yeah, and I think the strength of that is what the city is safe from the direct negative effects of power plants, and then weakness since there's no power plant here. Uh, Power interruptions is very frequent, and then several places here experience signal loss and signal fluctuates frequently even in highly urbanized areas. Even in my place, I still experience signal loss, even though there's like a tower like a few kilometers lang from our house. Then moving to socio-economic issues, the main livelihood here is agriculture, trade, and commerce. And then I think overpopulation which is becoming an issue because more people are moving into the city. But this is a strength because it can help with the city's social and economic development. And also the weakness, there will be employment issues and how shelter issues. For the solution, for physical issues, the solution to flooding would be is for the LGUs to provide an adequate drainage systems in highly commercialized areas and proper maintenance for the existing creeks and stormwater drainage systems, improving the flood resilience of roads to provide flood-affected residents escape routes and allow emergency services and easier access. Designate proper waste disposal areas and a stricter implementation and guidance on proper waste segregation. Also, identify traffic and parking issues in areas experiencing traffic congestions to come up with the right solutions. Construction of telecommunication towers in far-flung areas to improve the signal connection. And for the socio-economic issues, to combat issues brought by overpopulation, provide adequate community housing for future residents of the house and to avoid informal settlers. Infrastructures that can provide opportunities for residents moving into the city. I think that's it.
Okay, good. So just one question. I think this will be the same question for everyone tonight. Where do you think architecture can play a part in the solution of your city?
I think architecture can play a part uh, here sa traffic control strategies and for building adequate infrastructure, sir.
Okay, how man?
Um, ay, katong mobility na you said ganyan,
Okay,
sir.
okay.
Like,
Just try. Okay, okay,
yeah,
Bisaya.
kana, kato, who provide the bike lanes and I forgot the other. I got the
Ano,
sir.
I mean specifically sa building mismo. Ay lasa na hunana ang
Ah,
sidewalk
okay.
o kuan public space.
So, mm, uh, um, Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sige, sige. So, that's fine because you went first. So, because you went first, I'll tell you the answer.
Okay, sir.
You have here flooding mitigation strategy. So, your building must have a built-in, like water catchment system, like
Mm,
rainwater catching the system. So, you need the rainwater cisterns, all that stuff, the kanang pits to catch rainwater, some kind of detention pond probably could be built into your site. And then for traffic control, you need to have adequate road widths like entrances, adequate parking. And then for infrastructure, yeah, your building needs to be kanang designed in a way that the structure won't collapse, the structure will be long lasting, and then will be ready for kanang future development. So for example, in a site, you're given a site plan and then the existing road is very small, like maybe two ways lang. So you basically have to future proof your design. So if you have a site that has like maybe a two-lane road and you know your city is growing, you'll set back a bit more than the standard to accommodate road widening. So that's how your building, your architectural design can help solve the problems on the city scale. So like moto siya.
yeah.
Muna.
Now
Okay.
equal, sir.
Sige.
I noticed here sa among barangay, like, katong mga houses na, like, abot na sila near sa road, should be pang demolish o
Mm,
start para if maka-provide o sidewalk. Kaya wala man din mga
yes.
sidewalks. So, na demolish ang mga, like, mga front silang balay, mga sari-sari store.
Mo gyud na. I think they should be if they're not being paid by the government some compensation. But hopefully they're getting compensated for like the demolishing of their
Yeah.
houses. For that's really the main problems of Philippines. We tend to just build all the way up, and you will feel this when you get your project that the clients really don't want to follow the rules, but it's your duty to remind them that the rules is not just for the sake of having rules, but for the benefit of sustainable development sa whole city. So kana. Very good. Thank you for that, Bel, Adrian. So next we have very good presentation. I'll update the score here. Let's see. Next we have Artache. Arteche.
How can it be seen already, sir?
Let's see. Yes, I can see it. Just loading your page over here. Okay.
Okay, so this is my presentation on the urban issues of Talamban. So
Mm,
here on the upper left, we have the maps of Region 7, Cebu City, and Barangay Talamban along with their respective areas. As we all know, this is Cebu, and Talamban is like located around here, towards the very urbanized part of Cebu. This is a map of Cebu City, and this is a map of Barangay Talamban, along with the uh, like DIY kind of map that I did
mm,
for the commercial, residential, and institutional areas. On the lower part, we have the population data of Region 7, Cebu City, and Talamban. So, Region 7 consists of Bohol, Cebu, Negros Oriental, and Siquijor, with Cebu currently having the largest population with about 3 million people in total, and then with Siquijor having the least amount of people, which would be around 95,000 people. So population seems to be increasing by 1 to 2% every 5 years or so. So it's more of like a steady increase over the years. I think the same can be said for Cebu City. So Cebu City is a highly urbanized city in central Visayas or Region 7. It is the capital of Cebu Island and has about 80 barangays and is one of the most populated cities in Region 7. The population also increases by 1 to 3% every 5 years or so. The population data for Barangay Talamban is a little different. So as you can see, there's a little dip in population during the years from 1990 to 1995, and then it like accelerates from 1995 to 2000. So Barangay Talamban is one of the barangays located in Cebu City. Its population is about 3.46% of the total population of Cebu City, although there was a 2.32% decrease in population from 1990 to 1995. The population since then has increased by a lot. From 1995 to 2000, the population increased by 11.92%, and since then, the population has increased by about 0.80% to 4.76% every 5 years or so. So it increases at different rates, but increases nonetheless.
Very good.
So, on to the physical issues. For the strengths, Talamban boasts plenty of residential communities that are near plenty of schools and commercial places. So we all know that USC, which is a pretty big school, is located in Talamban, and Talamban is also near like Ateneo and Southcrest and all those other schools. Its weaknesses. Oh, it also has a lot of subdivisions. You have Sunny Hills and whatnot. Its weaknesses are poor road construction and planning, narrow roads, lack of sidewalks, and it has narrow sidewalks sometimes. It has poor drainage systems and too much trash production with lack of proper waste disposal methods. It also has a lack of open spaces. So this is all based on my personal experience,
Mm-hmm.
especially during near Kaisano Grand Talamban. There's just like a narrow road for some reason behind it that just causes so much traffic in the morning. And
Mm-hmm.
like right in front of our village, there's like this buildup of waste that is bound to like cover the road any day. Nobody's cleaning it up. I don't know why. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's definitely
Okay,
like,
could you like point out that place later on?
oh,
Later on.
okay. So
Mm.
for the socio-economic issues, the strengths are that the many residential neighborhoods that are near schools and commercial places mean that the residents have easy access to work, school, and basic needs, which results in Talamban being an ideal place to live as it is near so many amenities. It's a prime area that people would want to reside in. However, its weaknesses are that due to the poor road construction and narrow roads, there is heavy traffic on most days, which can make it stressful and frustrating to drive around. The lack of sidewalks also make the barangay less walkable. The lack of proper drainage systems and too much garbage production with lack of proper waste disposals and the overall lack of open spaces result in heavy flooding during rain. And the lack of proper garbage disposal also results to like a pileup of garbage which is dirty and unsightly to look at.
Mm.
So the strategy to solving or mitigating these issues is that Barangay Talamban could definitely benefit from some heavy road renovation. Based off of experience, the traffic seems to get worse and worse every year, which makes sense considering that the population seems to be increasing over the years, resulting in more people in the barangay. So I think that a road widening is in order. Talamban also might benefit from having future structures incorporate wider entrances so vehicles can enter the site easily and not block the roads, thus causing traffic. And in addition to that, Talamban could also benefit from improved drainage systems so that flooding can be mitigated, especially in the area where the grid is situated. As I've noticed that there is heavy flooding around this part, from the grid to that one subdivision that I don't know the name of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so, also coming up with a proper waste disposal system or even adding a few more trash cans around the barangay might encourage people to throw trash away properly, which could help clean up the barangay and also help decrease the flood problem, as trash sometimes clogs the drainage. If we were really getting into the nitty gritty and asking ourselves what truly could make Talamban a more sustainable and accessible place, I think that the barangay could definitely benefit from wider sidewalks so that it is more walkable. And that is
Okay.
my thoughts on
Very
the
good. Could you highlight on the map where this congestion is happening, like in your experience?
So, do you know where guys on a Grand Talamban is, sir? Like,
Ah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I think it's here. I think
Gaisano
it's here.
Grand. I'll Google
It's
it.
here. And this is Sunny Hills. And this is where I live.
Ah, the one near Sunny Hills. Okay.
Yeah. So there's like a road like here. I think it's this road. I'm not sure, but there's like a
Oh, it's
road here.
going into the upper regions, like beside Sunny Hills.
Yeah,
That's
that
that's also
road.
a residential area up there.
I think that they're like developing more buildings over here, so that's why more people are going here. Because sometimes
Mm,
this is also the route my mom takes when she goes to Ayala Heights. So it just gets increasingly traffic over here, and which can make it frustrating to drive. Also
yeah.
sa una, like obviously like schools, there's Ateneo over here, so it also gets traffic this way
Mm,
because of all the schools. But I don't think that's a problem right now. Yeah, so I live, let's say around here, and it's like
mm,
a little sudlunan. So at the edge, like right on the side of the road, that's where people put the trash. And for some reason, like
mm.
nobody like bothers like I don't know getting it or something. So like it
In
just
front
builds
of
up
this like RCBC.
near RCBC, sir. So it's like Sunny Hills, and then there's like a Lolo Tinong's kind of like bakery, like beside.
Mm,
Oh yeah, beside RCBC, and like there's like
sorry,
a road
RCBC.
between JRS
Yeah,
Express.
I think that's a garbage dumping area. I think um it gets cleaned up like once a week or once every 2 weeks. That's why it piles up.
Yeah, sir.
Is
And
it?
it's like the
Yeah.
entrance to my the place where I live, and it's like it's like I don't know, like there's like shoddy construction,
Oh,
so
ma
we're
stress.
afraid that it might fall apart, and the garbage would just be strewn all over like the entrance road. So yeah.
Yes. So, again, same question. How do you think architecture can help with that garbage problem?
I think incorporating like sustainable waste disposal systems, like segregating, like even just like doing little things like segregating the trash in our home so that there's less trash that we put outside, or like recycling. And for
Mm,
like commercial buildings, they can also benefit from sustainable systems, like as you said, kanina, the water catchment systems. And for future developments, you could consider, as I said earlier, like the making entrances wider to mitigate traffic, etc.
okay. Okay. It's pretty much it. Very compre It's also interesting. This, you can stop sharing your screen now. Thank you for that, Francis.
Thank you, sir.
Very well discussed. Okay, I'm going to share my screen very quickly before we move on. So very interesting, this intersection in front of Sunny Hills. It looks like a one-way road, but it's actually a four-way intersection because you have the entrance to Sunny Hills, which is two-way. The entrance to this like minor road going to like more residential areas, that's I think it's also two-way. And then you have the four lanes over here, and just a little bit ahead in front of this Grand Mall is another road just in front of this what they call this gas station. There's another road over here. So if we go up into the map, so there's a road here that's Highway 77 that's intersecting with the Governor M. Cuenco Avenue, the Sunlight Drive, which is the entrance to Sunny Hills, and then whatever the name is not appearing, this minor road over here. So that's definitely why it's so congested. And you have people walking to the mall. You have people like standing by in front of the eateries. So this is really needs some kind of traffic intervention. But yes, very interesting that this a lot of these areas exist in Cebu City. This is not so much an architectural problem, but more of an urban design problem. I just wanted to highlight that. Very good observations from Arteche. So we'll move on to the next one. I'll stop presenting. We'll probably only be able to handle 6 students at the rate we're going. Borromeo Kyle, are you here?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, you can start whenever you're ready.
Oh, here. Okay. So here, sir, okay,
Okay.
I'm just gonna go over with my zoning map because since I haven't reported this yet. So
Sige.
okay, sir. So this is my zoning map. So basically, this is the zoning map for Barangay Basak, which is situated in Lapu-Lapu City. So basically, here, okay, it is very evident that the the barangay itself is a highly urbanized barangay since we have here much commercial and industrial areas. It's occupying maybe like a around one fourth of the entire area. And here we can see that this is basically the main road. This is actually the road na if here ka mo agi and then straight kay that would connect to the old bridge. So yeah, this is a highway, and then so since this is the highway, it is nice kasi nga the commercial areas which is in red are directly adjacent to that road. But the problem here is these residential areas, which is actually unfortunately settled by informal settlers, which contributes actually to the traffic, which I will be explaining later on my final analysis there. So yep. So here on my urban issues for the Barangay Basak, okay, here on the Central Visayas map, okay, okay, it is also visible here na the population really is rising, but I'm not gonna di na lang ako explain ang kanang here
Hmm.
sa Central Visayas since mo na may explain sa akong past classmates. So here's Lapu-Lapu City, sir, kay fortunately the power source, which is the Meco substation 3 and then the Meco substation 4, is located on the on the Barangay Basak. So that's a pro, or like that's a benefit for the
Hmm.
for the inhibitors of Barangay Basak. So here's there's city population data with Lapu-Lapu City kay it is visible na in year 2010 nga ni Saka jud siya, which is that's 6.80%, but fortunately in 2015 ni ubos siya 2.94%, but ni Saka siya 4.26 on 2020. So based on research, the Lapu-Lapu City was the fastest growing HUC, or highly urbanized city in the province, with a population growth rate of 4.26%. So all in all, the population of Lapu City is represented by 6.16% of the total population of the entire Central Visayas region. So yep. So now going over to here's Barangay Basak. Okay. Barangay Basak, of the 3,003 barangays in the entire Central Visayas region, which is region 7, is the largest in terms of population size. So yeah. So basically I'm living in a barangay with the most population on the entire region 7, sir. So
Yes, that is true.
now go now, now going here's physical issues circuit. The strengths are the tourist destinations, which is natural and heritage, since basically Mactan, or like Lapu-Lapu in general, is much of a tourist destination in 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 Cebu region, especially that the the Mactan Cebu International Airport is located in this island. So for the building developments, there's a lot of commercial, industrial, and institutional. For commercial specifically, there are a lot of ongoing constructions along the barangay. Like for this year, or maybe that was last year, there's already a new Mactan Town Center and another town center, and then there is another under construction na Gaisano Grand Mall. So the weaknesses for that is the traffic congestion, poor road network, flooding, solid waste disposal, and air and water pollution, as well as climate change. So for the socio-economic issues, okay, the strengths are these economic opportunities, since given that there are a lot of commercial developments ongoing or unplanned to the entire barangay, then there will be more employment and business opportunities. And then also for educational opportunities, we can see here in the zoning, it's here turning as this. This one here is the Indiana Aerospace University, and we have here another school, and then school here. So basically, there's one, two, three, four, five like major schools in the barangay. So that's a pro, like that's a strength. So also with the healthcare opportunities, we have Mactan Doctors Hospital, and then if we go over just adjacent to the barangay, I forgot it's Barangay Agus that there's ARC Hospital that is also highly accessible from the for the inhibitors of Barangay Basak. So for the weaknesses, we have here the residential zoning, the informal settlers, the squatters, population rise specifically, and then the housing quantity and poverty. So for the strategies to solve or mitigate issues, okay, I just classified or categorized all issues into like four um four into four.
Themes.
So we have here yeah. So here for the residential circuit, um, we can enforce here. Maybe a possible strategy to solve or mitigate the issue for residential is to enforce housing and relocation projects that would provide adequate and well-managed living conditions for these kanang informal settlers. Since also based on the zoning, we have here this pale green. Those are actually this is just based on the Google Maps. Now these spaces that are in green are vacant land, so this might be a good place for relocation, especially that these green areas or vacant lands are also adjacent to the residential spaces, so that would be maybe good.
Mhm.
So for the informal sectors, sir, to give you like maybe like an idea why is it such a problem is that here, since we can also hear na ang typical traffic, which is on the peak hours at circuit, it's red and it's orange. So I myself, I'm a driver of a private vehicle, and I really suffer the traffic in here. So the problem here, sir, is that this like informal settlers, okay, they have, and this is just for me, sir, they also have their commercial like sari stores, their carinderias and such. So the problem with that one, sir, okay, um they would need like their customers like park their vehicles on the road itself. So like if we have that, then ang lane sa road is makuhaan. So like that would be like a con to the traffic. So it leads to kanang more traffic congestion compared to compared to here, sir, like kanang mga commercial areas nga kanang well planned, kay they have their own kanang designated road networks and then parking areas for their customers. So it would be better nga if these people living in here would be relocated to another area, and then this would be a turned into a commercial areas, then maybe the traffic would be much better there. It would ease the traffic
Mhm.
areas. The traffic congestion. So here's for the waste management, sir. Is first is implementing a good garbage disposal system. Here in our subdivision, okay, the homeowners association is like not very strict, but they promote better or like proper segregation, like kind of recyclable and non-recyclable. But the problem with that one is I have observed na our household is itself does practice that. Mo practice mi ana na mag-segregate, but the problem is if ang garbage truck inigkuha nila sa among garbage kay isagol gyapon nila, sir. So sa amuhang work no nawad-an og kanang, so it's basically useless kay work here sa among household kay nag-segregate me, but then pag-abot sa like sa dumping sites kay isagol gyapon siya. So yeah, I think that's
Mm.
a problem.
That's a systematic problem.
Yeah, so that one, sir. And also for the incorporating proper drainage systems, kay our roads here, sir, kay kanang magbaha jud siya, sir. Like legit nga kanang maybe kanang mga tire level jud sa car, sir, ang iyang baha. So that would also be most of na ang one of the reasons why musamot ang traffic congestion, which is the main problem our on our barangay. So incorporating kanang proper drainage system will be much will be a strategy to solve
Mm.
and mitigate the issues, sir. So also for this for the rainwater circuit, it is also highly suggestive na mo promote especially on households ang rainwater harvesting systems. So ang giadra na ko here, sir, ang sources because based on the experience ang sir kay ang I've been into like a subdivision. It's a small subdivision, but then they are experiencing a scarce of water supply, and ang problem nila dito, sir, is we can see here sa zoning na ang sa Lapu-Lapu City is the main ang main jud nga water supplier for the city is MCWD, but then that specific nga subdivision is ang ilahang water provider is BP Waterworks, which is a smaller kuan. So urag for me, sir, kay maybe mo to nag-ask ko sa ilahang Rewarag Homeowners Association what's like kanang root problem for that jud. So ngano di
Uh-huh.
na lang nila ipa-convert from BP Waterworks to MCWD para mas better or like masolve ang ilahang scarce of water supply. So ang ilang reasoning dito, sir, kay MCWD won't kuan daw di sila mo supply dito nga area, so like maybe it would help tingali, sir, nga kanang I'm not sure, sir, but maybe the urban planning itself would help them realize that there is a need to extend their water supply lines, sir.
Mm.
So basically that's it. Sir.
Okay, good. Very good points you raised. So for the next presenters, ipaspas ng gamay ang presentation. Before you close it, your question would be, you talked about relocation of like existing, what do you call this, residences, and then converting that space into commercial. So what
Yes, sir.
about on the same space that you want a commercial area, what if you can have it mixed, bitaw? So what if I'm your client and I say I want a mixed use area in the area you mentioned earlier that you wanted to move squatters and put in a commercial area? What kinds of uses would you kanang suggest just based on our discussions in class? What would go well with a commercial area?
Like what specific commercial area with
Ade,
sir
you already have a
or
commercial use. What other use could you combine? So there's residential use, there's institutional use, industrial, and open park. I think those are the major ones. So what would you combine
I think,
with
sir,
your?
just based on the commercial developments generally in Cebu province, kay they combine commercial areas like retail areas to office spaces and residential spaces like naay mall sa ubos like mainly commercial areas, and then on the top is condominiums like that, sir. So maybe I think
Very good,
okay,
very good.
yeah, that one, sir.
So that's exactly what the development pattern is now. So you can stop sharing now. So I'll just share my screen very quickly before I move on to the next one. So developments or like even simple houses like these, where this is probably a four-person house. The bottom is now like open for commercial, like even a small sari-sari store. This is really the future, I think, of Cebu, like houses like these, where you have living areas on the top and commercial activities on the bottom. This is how we maximize our space because we are basically in Cebu City specifically and Lapu-Lapu City as well, maxed out. So there's nowhere else to develop unless we reclaim land, which is very expensive. So this is really how architecture can help out the larger issues, the larger urban issues, more mixed-use developments, and then how do you design houses like this? Now, living sa taas and commercial sa ubos. So that's something you guys should be thinking about and could be an interesting thesis topic. Okay, thank you for that, Kyle. Next, Caspe. So for this presentation, just go a bit faster. So imagine you're a YouTube video and you're going at 1.25 speed. So Caspe is our only student from Qatar or Qatar. And then, yes.
I'll just share.
Sige, go ahead. So we might have room for maybe one more student and we'll make up the rest next meeting.
Is it
Yes, I can see
presenting,
it.
sir? Ah, okay.
Yep.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'll be presenting the urban issues of Qatar. So it is pronounced as Qatar. So
Thank you.
Since 2015, Qatar has been divided into 8 municipalities. However, I'll be focusing on Doha. So, in terms of the area, Doha is less than half the area of Cebu City. So I've searched Cebu City is 315 square kilometer. However, Qatar is just 130. Doha is just 132, and it is actually the smallest area among the 8 districts. Doha is a modern capital city of. Oh wait, I have a picture here of Qatar.
Wow.
Okay, so I saved the picture so you can see like the looks of Qatar. So Doha is a modern capital city and the most populous municipalities of Qatar. It comprises the majority of Qatar's residential, financial, and administrative centers. This area also accommodates the important infrastructure such as the Hamad Medical City. It is the biggest hospital in Qatar. It also comprises the industrial area and the Hamad International Airport. So among the municipalities, it is also the most populated one, as I've mentioned. The population density in Qatar is 248 square kilometer. The ideal population of density is between 50 to 100 people per square kilometer. However, Qatar has 643. So it is really overpopulated. So going back to the population data, so notice how the population growth rate in Qatar and Doha is almost the same, which means Doha's population greatly contributes to the population growth of Qatar. It also means that most of the people migrating in Qatar goes to Doha, usually for job opportunities. So Doha is actually 22% of Qatar's population based on this present year, 2021. So since there are 8 districts of Qatar, I'm imagining that there is 22% is in Doha and the 78% is distributed among the 7 districts. Each district would have contributed at least 10% of the population. So imagining with this small area compared to the other districts, Doha contributes 22% of Qatar's total population. It also means that economic development in Doha is continuously growing as population increases. So Qatar's population grew from about 422,000 in 1990 to about 617 in 2000, and then reached 1.4 million in mid-2008, more than tripling population size in just 18 years. So Qatar's exceptionally rapid population growth, averaging 16% per year between 2005 and 2008, is virtually unexpected historically and globally. And that is actually the role and importance of the population projection. A projection can really be 100% accurate due to misspecified trends in fertility, mortality, and migration. That is why this unexpected rise of population happens. So let's go to the physical issues and the social economic issues. It is actually, I actually got these issues from the survey of Saeed Mohammed. It is entitled Environmental Awareness, Attitudes and Actions, a baseline survey of the citizens and residents of Qatar. So the weakness of I've I've got the weakness. I already discussed this before. So first it is traffic congestion, and and it is actually happening in the commercial areas. So the air pollution, depletion of natural resources such as water and energy, and the poor waste management. So this trends are it is rich in natural gas. So Qatar has the world's third largest proven natural gas reserve and the second largest exporter of natural gas. It is also in a strategic location, which means there are more international trades, and majority of the Mid Eastern and the European countries, which strengthens international relations and boosts Qatar profits through share of water space. So this also contributes to the richness of Qatar. And lots of open spaces. Trees and plants help to provide shade and cool most of the areas in Qatar. As I've always shared to my friends that if you're in Doha, and you can't really tell that Qatar is a desert because it really has a lot of green spaces. So for the social economic issues, the weakness is demographic change. This is caused by too rapid population growth, rural to urban migration, and shifts in household economic status that tend to exert pressure in many elements in the environment, such as water resource, and the energy. Economic growth, which intensifies resource consumption, it is actually a strength. However, in Qatar, it's a bit of a weakness because it drives land use change and generates waste. It also, although rising incomes can also bring investment in environmental improvement and cleaner technologies. However, since Qataris are rich, or there's a bit of overuse or over consumption of resources, such as the energy.
Mhm.
Social political factors are. I also identified this. I did arising from differences in culture and social behavior, which results in varying consumption and production patterns, and social change that produces unpredictable shifts in resource use. So that's the weakness, and the strength is Qatar is a rich country. The locals receive financial support from the government. I've heard that Qataris and the senior citizens in Qatar receive like an monthly allowance from the government. And there are also a lot of public institutions that offers cheap and free services to the residents of Qatar, which include medical needs and education. There's a good governance. Qatar is actually a monarchy, which is governed by an emir. So laws are strictly implemented, thus locals and residents fear and obey them. And people obey and support the government. And there's also safe neighborhood here. There are very few crimes in the city, and people feel safe and secure. I can actually attest to that because it really feels safe here. So here, Qatar actually has this National Vision 2030, which aims to transform Qatar into an advanced country by 2030, capable of sustaining its own development and providing a high standard of living for its population and future generation. So it has four pillars, including human development, social development, economic development, and environmental development, which I focused on. So, oops. Um, so the environmental development is one of the four core pillars of Qatar's National Vision 2030. It lays the foundation of the sustainability of a local ecosystem, judicial use of natural resources, and minimize waste. So this is the background of the pillar, it will be increasingly important as Qatar is forced to deal with local environmental issues such as the impact of diminishing water and hydrocarbon resources and the effects of pollution and environmental degradation, as well as international environmental issues such as potential impact of global warming on water levels in Qatar and thereby on coastal urban development. Assessing the severity of risk and dealing with anticipated changes will require mobilizing capacities and coordinating efforts to tackle problems that arise. So the goal is to achieve water security, reduce carbon emission, and increase energy efficiency, and mitigate risks that threaten the safety of the marine environment. So for
Okay.
the traffic,
Casper, you have 1 minute.
okay, so for the traffic and transport, the more the solution is more fuel efficient vehicles such as hybrid vehicles. Model shift from road transportation to rail. So it wait there's actually never mind. Okay, so how to implement this? They will be imposing taxes on vehicle purchase and investment in attractive public transport facilities such as cycling and scooters. This is actually implemented now. There's a lot of cycling and scooters that could be used in public. Energy supply, it could how it reduction of fossil fuel subsidies and imposing taxes on carbon charges and incentives for using renewable energy technologies. And for the GHG emission climate change, I'll be oh sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll be sharing this. This is called the CCS. It, it is called the carbon capture storage. There there are three steps for this. The capture the CO2 or the carbon dioxide, and then transport it to these pipelines towards the ship or ship to transport it towards here the rocks or the underneath the ground first for permanent storage. So this is what they're implementing now. And then
Also, they're no longer kanang what they call no more fumes coming out of their kanang what they call this exhausts.
yes, the plant the plantation are required to have this so that they could reduce the amount of CO2 that would go to the atmosphere. So for the water resource, it's the same for adopting innovative desalination technologies and recycling of gray water. And for the waste, since Qatar has this landfill, only has this landfill for their waste, what do you call this? They use the landfill to cover the waste, and then so the solution is to have the landfill methane recovery, which is recovering landfill methane not only improves public safety and reduces environmental hazard, but also provide opportunity to generate revenue and offset the use of non-renewable sources of energy. So the main advantage of incinerators can decrease the quantity of waste by 95% and reduce the solid quantity of the original waste by 80 to 85%, depending on the components that were in solid waste. So that's it.
Okay, sige. I got let you go a little bit over time there. So the next presenter will probably be for next week. So this is very interesting, especially the carbon capture and methane harvesting. That if
Yes.
you could make any of those topics could be very good for a thesis and could be maybe Cebu City is a bit far away, but even just discussing how it works could be an interesting topic for those in the Philippines. So quick question. Since it seems like Doha has everything in place already, do you think sustainable architecture is still needed?
Yes, sir. Because
Mm.
now, in a survey also, sir, I read that gas or could also be um, there. There's also scarcity of resources in coals and in gas. It could like diminish over time. So I think I also had this research about the solar. Since Qataris are rich, I think they could implement like such they could implement all the buildings to have a solar power or renewable power energy. as their source of electricity and for the water. I think it wouldn't be a problem that for them to implement such thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Also, there's such a thing as I'm not sure if you're aware. They're saying that oil will run out eventually, so I think Doha will need to prepare for that. It's not going to happen in the near future, probably in the next century or something like that. So, even in a very well-developed city like Doha, sustainable architecture is still very much applicable. So, thank you for that, Casper, being our like international correspondent for that. So it's 6:27. We don't have time for another presentation. So I'll stop recording here. Thank you so much for those presentations.